We've spent over 10 years on air, shaping a generation of action motorsports, and now we're changing the game again. The best motorsports, the best action sports, and the best of pop culture with some epic guests thrown in. I am Jim Beaver, and this is the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Grab the popcorn. Welcome to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone, coming at you from the studio. Finally, again, been traveling the globe. Brittney and I have, not the globe, the country. I tried to make that sound entirely too amazing, but I really can't complain. We've had some amazing travels recently. I mean, New York City, Pocono, a Jeep event in Pennsylvania. Been to a Red Bull event in Utah, Vegas to Reno, you name it, we've been there. It has been a wild one, but we are back, regular format to the show this week, and I got to tell you, we are recording this show pretty late at night. Caught up with our boy Jim York earlier. We're going to air that interview, which is amazing. If you don't know Jim York, he's Travis Pastrana's buddy. He sends it all the time. He's always just full of shenanigans. I love talking with Jim, and he's just an epic guest, epic guy, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun with him. But, man, Brittney and I got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to catch you up on our misadventures of Jim and Britt, some of our trips, our travels, and, yeah, not only that, but it is late at night. We're trying to get this thing cranked for SiriusXM and get this thing uploaded to the broadcast system. So you know what that means? It means we might be having a little bit of fun here. Might have a cocktail or two during this show, during this 2-hour show. And you know what? It's going to get fun. So if you're tuning in online or if you're tuning in on SiriusXM, let us know what you think. It's at JimBeaver15, at bcardone15 on Twitter, Instagram, also on Facebook. But let me tell you, we got Broncos to talk about. We got travels to talk about. We got Kawasaki's to talk about. We got a ton of motorsports to talk about. And, man, it is all just getting started. It is just getting cranked. And let me tell you, you are in store for a whole lot of fun the next 2 hours right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Hang tight. General Tire delivers for whatever life brings your way. General Tire's Grabber X3 all-season mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP Advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Thanks for listening to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Available online on SiriusXM on AM/FM networks across the U.S. and internationally on the American Forces Network. Head to JimBeaver15.com for all the details. Welcome to the General Tire. Hold on, I almost screwed that intro up. I went back to what I've been saying for 10 years. Welcome to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Back from break, we got our good friend Jim York with Pit Viper and numerous other, I don't know, what is your official job title, Jim? Just stuntman extraordinaire, like professional fun haver like Britt and I? Squirrel?
Yeah, just VP of stunts.
VP of stunts?
Just because I'm not professional enough to be a president.
Yeah. VP of stunts. I dig it. So, I don't know, man. You and I have known each other for, dude, we got, what, 5-6 years now, I think? I'm just trying to think back of how we actually originally got connected, dude. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute,
how
man. I don't even know. I thought it was just Team Jim, like, you know, one of those things. There's something in a name.
Something in a name. Yeah, Britt goes, yeah, it used to be Clean Cut or something like that. I was like, oh, wow. Bust Jim under. Oh, man. So, yeah, you got a bunch of stuff going on. Obviously, you're doing all kinds of stuff with Pit Viper. I got to ask you first off, dude. I was laughing. I actually had this conversation about you the other day. I can't remember if Britt was there or not, but we were talking about your boat racing. And I'm like, dude, you're a wild man. Trav's a wild man. How the hell they decided to put you two in a boat together? Like, dude, to me, I'm just like, yeah, I love you guys both, but I love you guys both. But I'm like, neither one of you are backing down. Like,
that's
you
the definition.
Yeah, no, it's like it's the perfect. It's the best worst idea I think either of us have ever had, and that. It's the one thing, and as we both talked about it, because, like, yeah, Trav, obviously, like, just, I mean, that guy doesn't have a fear bone in his body, and when everybody says this isn't going to work, he just goes, all right, you wusses, like, step aside, watch this, and everything that shouldn't work, he somehow scrapes it by, makes it work, and lands whatever crazy thing he's got going on. Me, on the other hand, I can usually crash whatever, and Trav has just deemed it, I'm going to live forever. And that, like, we had actually a pretty in-depth conversation about it driving back from New York one time. And I go, he's like, people are built different and you're built different. And I'm like, nah. He's like, no, I've watched you crash stuff into things where your back should be broken in 3 places. You then get back in the vehicle because somehow it's still running and go do it again and crash harder and walk away. And I guess the case in point to that was we jumped a car at his house a couple 4th of Julys ago. The guy next to me smashed his head against the windshield, bleeding all over the place. I walk out and I'm just like, we didn't make it. That sucks. So both of us in a boat together, though, and like the whole case in point there, I guess, back to the boat thing, this is the one thing that scares us. We both don't know what we're doing. We have no business being in that boat with a bunch of professionals that do this all the time. Somebody's going over, or it's gnarly. Like, the consequences are high. And it's the one thing I don't know how to crash, and I don't want to crash because I'm terrified of water. So it's the perfect storm of a good time and just me crapping myself every corner and every straightaway.
You know what? It's funny that you bring that up because dude, I'm nowhere near the level of you and Trav, but I like doing things that take me out of my comfort zone, stuff that I might not be good at, but that challenges me or stuff that makes me uncomfortable. Like a lot of people are really highly successful and they just stay in their lane and they just kill it. And I'm like, I actually like to go out and do things where I suck, you know what I mean? And then I have to get better and I can see the progression and things like that, you know? And it's like, to me, that's, I don't know. I love the challenge in it, you know? And I don't know. It's, I mean, I don't necessarily need to risk dying like you and Trav do, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and it is exactly that. And this the V-bottom style boats that we race, you don't get to rest. You don't get a straightaway that was the same as the last lap. You don't get a turn that was the same as the last lap. Yeah, we're racing in an oval, but you know what's always moving is the water. So I always compare it to like, hey, imagine trying to keep an ice skate blade as straight as possible, but on ocean-sized waves. And that's basically what we're doing. And so it is one of those, I'm nowhere near perfect. I think me and Trav, too, have been in the boat together 3 times, and we're racing at the, like, you know, basically the pinnacle level of this V-bottom. There's faster boats, but they're just the faster boats are obviously easier to control with, like, the twin cat, like, the you know, they're more of a pontoon-style boat versus these V-bottoms, which is just complete chaos.
Yeah, I feel the pontoon style.
Well, you can see it. You can see it in your guys' eyes on the in boat, not in car, in boat footage. But watching like different things over the years with what Travis and you have done, and then seeing the intensity on your guys' face with every movement, every chime, every little, you know, chop, you can tell that intensity. It definitely shows through on the camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely night and day. Like the perfect, I guess, stunt we just did together where we were literally told we were going to do it in front of an audience of like 100 to 150 people. And, you know, some of the other people that were there, like, yo, no, you guys can't do this stunt. You guys are like, someone's going to get seriously injured or die. And we can't have someone die in front of all these people. Me and Trav look at each other and just like, whatever, like, okay, we'll do it the next day. And where we jumped a truck towing a boat over a 90-foot gap. And like we'd never jumped that kind of like tandem jump before. I was riding in the boat, Trav was driving the truck, but that was one of those, like, both of us were laughing the whole time leading up to it, just kind of like, well, this probably isn't gonna work, but we're fine. And like you can see in the back of the boat, I'm out there having a great time, just go, this is gonna be awesome. Where in the boat, you can see the in cockpit audio and whatnot of, I am terrified because I don't know how this is gonna go, and you know, like the consequences of rolling over a boat to me are terrifying, but it's exhilarating all at the same time. So something we just want to keep doing. And, you know, we've got a world championship coming up here in November. And the worst part is we really think we have a shot and can actually win this thing, which we're running, I think, currently second in points, oddly enough, having never done it before. It's dumb luck, but rather be lucky than good.
Yeah, you and Trav, like, I compare it like in off-road racing. You know, you can have a good co-driver. You can have a good co-driver that maybe you don't sync up well. It's like, you know what I mean? I've started having Brittney co-drive with me in the desert car, and her and I get each other in all these crazy, insane levels, and then we get in the race car, it's synced right. You know, and you have to have that full trust factor. I mean, you and Trav, obviously, this isn't something you can practice. I'm assuming the first time you know, they're expensive to run and everything else. Not like you just take your dirt bike out and, I'm going to go burn some laps. You don't do that in one of these boats. You know, like you and Trav, I'm assuming you have the trust factor. You guys have been friends for a long time. But, you know, to me, it's crazy that at that level, you guys have actually synced up where it actually works with you guys. And you can kind of read each other's, you know, movements and what the other person's thinking without them saying it.
Yeah, maybe. I think we're still working on that. I mean, after this last race, it was really funny. So the race before this in Sarasota, it was kind of the complete opposite of like, you're being a sissy. These waves are nothing. We're having a great time. And like, I had just come off of doing a race that he wasn't able to throttle with me. And like the waves there were insane. And so I kind of knew what to expect coming into that one where just at this last one, I think he had been out in the boat a couple more times with a different driver and he knew what to expect and I didn't. So again, like where we're succinct enough of both, like, yes, we really think we can win. Yes, we are the complete opposite of experience and just like novice to a fault. But that's the one thing I think that works is we both have it doesn't matter. Let's go. If that guy can do it, we probably can do it.
And we're going to pause this, but we got a whole lot more to come because Jim York is going to be back after the break right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. When it's time to replace the tires on your vehicle, General Tire delivers the tires you need for both your next big adventure and your daily commute. Whether you need all-season traction, lasting tread wear, or a quiet drive, General Tires are designed to deliver whatever life brings your way. From all-season ultra-high-performance tires for passenger cars and crossovers to extreme all-season mud terrain and tires for light trucks and SUVs, General Tire delivers great performance. To find your ideal tire, visit GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Dig what you're hearing? Well, do us a favor. Head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone and catch all of our back episodes. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. We got Jim York hanging here. So here's a question I've never even asked you. How the hell did you and Trav first meet, dude? Because we all have a Pastrana story, I feel like, how we first met or something like that. How'd you get involved with Trav and the whole crew?
Man, that story varies a few different ways. If you go back to like the first time I ever met him, it was New Year's No Limits where we snuck into the after party. And I just happened to, like, the first guy I run into with me and my brother that, like, jumped the fence, didn't get seen, and hauled our way up to the Red Bull after party was Trav. And we just got talking. He's one of those guys who's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know how how you got in here, but cool, let's have a drink or whatever. And I actually really met him the first time they were working on Nitro Circus 3D. Somebody broke the monster, they were trying to do that crossover scene, broke the monster truck. And I was working for the local gas station company, Maverick here. We happened to have a monster truck. They needed an extra hand wrenching. And so I went out that way and kind of just stayed kind of in touch here and there. And then, just always been one of those, like, they could call for whatever kind of stupid idea they had. And then it kind of really sank in when we moved to a company called Silencer Co. and we sponsored his NAS truck and a handful of different things. And then it's just been it's been growing ever since then. So, and we're still alive. So I guess we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
So he was always available for the abuse is what it was.
Yeah, more or less crash test dummy. Like me and I think Comb Over Steve, they're like, hey, this isn't going to work. Call the crash crew. And usually they're right. Like it didn't work, but we can be like, all right, so if you actually want to do this and not run into the landing like I just did, here's what you need to change.
It's funny. You've got me thinking back on a bunch of stuff now, but I just laugh because it's like, there's been some times with that. And I can remember one time it was one of my first times I was ever in a UTV and I just balled the thing up. And it was this massive double jump and I didn't have my timing right. And I saw a bunch of people overshoot the landing and they were wrecking because they were over jumping the double. And so I'm like, I can get this thing butter smooth. And I'm like, this isn't going to end well. Like you have to thread the needle here. And I'm like, you're either perfect, you have the perfect speed where you hit the landing because it's a short landing. You're short and you come up short and you wad it up, or you go long and you wad it up. And I remember, like, I got in behind the wheel and I'm going, this isn't going to end well. I'm ready to just crash and probably hurt myself right here. And I got in there and it literally airborne. I'm looking like, yep, we're going to crash. We're coming up short. Boom, hit the lip. rolled over 4 or 5 times, you know what I mean, blew my knee up and everything else. And I just laugh because I'm like, I remember that vividly going, yep, I'm getting in this and this is a bad decision. I'm going to hurt myself. And then I hurt myself and it was just like, yep, I was right. But I just laugh because I'm like, that was a isolated incident and it happens once in a while. I used to BMX ride and stuff. You go to the trails and you'd hit a set of trails, the first time and you're like, yeah, there's a good chance I'm going to crash now. But I just think like you do this on a daily basis where you're just preparing yourself to get hurt.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those. It's like, yeah, this is definitely not gonna work. All right, let's go. I think that same thing happened. We were at Hubert's for his. He does like a redneck race right before Christmas, and he has a UTV track set up, and we were racing minivans. It's super muddy. I just and I go, hey man, we got to hit this jump. It's not that big. It's like a 30-foot gap, but again, in a minivan in like Tennessee mud is different from Utah mud, and there's just it's slicker than snot on an iceberg, and you just can't get traction. We had big old mud tires on, and we're going around the track, and we're changing drivers, and I go, hey, it's the last lap. You and I both know I'm not going to make it. But am I good to try? He's like, well, yeah, but you're not going to make it. I'm like, no, I'm slamming square into that landing, but I said I was going to do it. Can I try it? Like, I don't want to make him mad, but he's like, yeah, I go for it. Like, perfect. And yeah, like, sure as can be. I like, yep, way short, and just slam into landing. But I kind of knocked myself stupid, had a big knot on my knee, but got up the next day and was like, well, now we all have a good story and a good video. So you're welcome, everybody.
Well, I know that's what, dude, like, I think Trav's always told me anytime I'm around him, he's like, you can do whatever you want. You can wreck whatever you want as long as it's on video. If it's not on video, you're in trouble. He's like, as long as it's on video, I'm good with you just destroying whatever.
Yep, that's it. And like, I'm literally wearing the shirt that he was like, you have to make that into a T-shirt, because I think one of the first pit bike races we did out there, it's a track for professionals that I am nowhere near. Like, I don't really have a business on two wheels, and then you put us onto a track where these are like the world top motocross athletes, and then there's me, and these, it's 40, 50 foot gap jumps and whatever, and I'm crashing on everything. And he's like, dude, what is going on? I'm like, I'm just here for the crash show, man. And he just laughs his happy ass off, and then gets back to, you, dude, that just has to actually be a T-shirt. That's amazing. And so I have a T-shirt now that says that.
I laugh because talking about minivans, Britt and I went back to ERX last year for the Nitro Rallycross. We had a couple things going there, and I'm laughing because you got some of the best Rallycross drivers in the world. You got this amazing track at ERX. You got some of the best UTV racers in the world, and then you've got the minivan race, and it stole the show. Like, nobody can tell you who won the UTV race. Nobody can tell you who won the Rallycross race, but everybody remembers the shenanigans that happened in the minivan race. I'm like, dude, the stuff that you come up with is hilarious. And there's times like
the Van Prix, man.
Dude, there was like a double.
The sounds from the crowd. We all felt it. Oh.
Well, and we thought that was another really funny one. We thought we had all the airbags pulled, and I had never heard of like I guess floor airbags or side airbags, and we found out real quick that those exist. And people are just coming up off. I think me and my buddy JH, we had vans that were clearing it. Like, as long as you didn't let up and just kept it pinned, you could make your way around that course. But it was really, really intimidating, and the consequences were kind of high if you were going to lift at all. So when people would, coming up short just ended so much worse. But that seemed to be what every other band was doing, which is great for the crowd.
Dude, radiator caps are blowing off.
Awesome pictures.
Oh, gosh. Dude, it was wild. I remember after that, too, like, we're at the bar after everything's all done, and Terry Madden walks up, and Terry was so pissed off because he'd come in just to do that race. And, like, I can't even remember what happened, but I'm like, and it was all for fun for the crowd. No, dude, you would have thought that was an Indianapolis 500 for Terry. Like, he was so pissed off, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, Terry, it's all right, bro. It's all right. No, dude, like, he was so, like, angry, and I'm like, it's a minivan race in backwoods Minnesota. You'll be okay, Terry.
Yeah, him wasn't
okay. We were having FOMO too, though. Let's be real.
Like, yeah, no, I mean, everybody there was there to race, and we were the everyman sport of that, because you look at, okay, that's a $500,000 rally car, or even like the next cars, or even the side by side, like, oh, these are $50,000 to $80,000 builds. Nope, we picked these literally all up off the classifieds yesterday. I think the most we paid for any of them was, we had hosed, and it was like $1,700. I bought it from an actual used car dealer, and I'm like, tell you what, I'm going to take this on loan. I'll bring it back. I can't tell you what condition, but then you got to give me my deposit back at $500. So, but we all took it, serious enough that like we wanted to win, and we did a podium. And it was just really funny. As dumb as it was, everybody's there for competition, and it was a good time. But yeah, like even in the YouTube edit we made, it was, instead everybody had like a made up title, and Terry Madden, and his subtitle was "Lost to Jim York."
Oh man, have you ever seen Levi LaValle has? And I haven't been back to it yet, and I get an invite every year, and Britt and I need to go this year. But at the end of every winter, he has he calls it the Try 5, and it's like you can spend $500 or less on a snowmobile. The race is 500 laps, and it's got to be 500 cc's or less. And they calls it the Try 5, and literally it is just a complete mess in the best possible way. But it's
that sounds amazing. And dude, I love that stuff. I love kind of that, like, I'm a classified guy. I come from pick this car up and just see what it can do, because that's so much more fun than a car telling you what it, like, you go with these race cars and these high dollar things, and it's like, well, this car should do this. Where I like to go the complete opposite. I'm like, this car, there's no way, but let's see. And it's just so much more fun that way. And like snowmobiles, whatever, honestly, same track, rewind to February of that same year, and we did the same thing. We were out at the Carlson puts on the Ditch Banger event, and it's the same type of deal where it's like $600 sleds, whatever. They have to be like pre-96. I had never raced snowmobiles in my entire life. I had so much fun doing it, and that's where I think you can get, it's a bigger crowd, and everybody can look at it and say, I could do that. Like, I aspire to race rally, whatever. Like, as a fan watching these different events, that may be what you're thinking, but like, these guys are having just as much fun, and they picked all this stuff up yesterday out of a classified off of the internet. Like, this is amazing. And these jumps are legit. This isn't faking it, but they're making it work. And I love that so much. To me, it's more fun. Like, you give me a rally car and I'd be like, cool, I'm scared to break this. Put me the other way around. I'm like, let's see when this breaks, because I won't.
So there's another event that happens at ERX that not many people know about. It's called Jim and Britt's Christmas Classic, and it includes rental cars.
This sounds very unsanctioned.
It was very unsanctioned. No, we were just up there, and
it was an exposition.
It was an expo. Yeah, we have the proof of concept. No, it was quite funny. We were up there for the X Games snowbike qualifier, and I was doing the announcing for X Games, and that deal got wrapped up, and everybody's hanging out and having a good time and stuff like that. And it's late at night, and snow's coming down. The track's completely covered in snow, and we have a Ford Escape. And needless to say, the Ford Escape made it on the ERX short course track in the middle of the snow, in the middle of the night, a couple days before Christmas.
No, it turned into the Escape.
The Escape.
See, I love that. I have a lot of friends that can't rent cars from any major rental car company anymore for those very reasons.
Yeah, we might be on that list now. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. And we'll be back with more with Jim York right after this on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. General Tire offers a wide variety of options that are designed to deliver for whatever life brings your way. Whether you have a truck, car, or SUV, General Tire delivers for whatever you drive. From the long-lasting all-season Altimax RT43 to the aggressive all-terrain Grabber ATX, General Tire covers on-road performance, off-road capability, and durability. General Tire delivers. For more information, drive over to GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets the standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Thanks for listening to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Available online on SiriusXM on AM/FM networks across the U.S. and internationally on the American Forces Network. Head to JimBeaver15.com for all the details. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Cranking along here. Another segment. Make this segment number 3 with our boy Jim York. Question, though, let's talk a little bit about the Mint 400 this year, dude, and your limousine, because I know you got a thing for limousines. Did you guys end up last year having a limousine race after the minivan race? You guys are going to have a limousine race at the firm, right?
No, we tried to do limo racing. So, I don't know. I just had an affinity for limos since I was born. I grew up as in a Cadillac family, and you know, like when they make limos, you end up buying limos, and it's a car that shouldn't do anything. So when you can race them, you can jump them, and you can take them off road. It's such an abnormal thing to see anywhere on a racetrack or doing anything of that sort. And it's always just been really, really fun for me to get in those cars. Again, and they're usually pretty cheap because nobody wants to store a limo, and I can attest to that because we have 12 of them right now. But it's one of those, like I kind of challenged myself. We got the world record limo jump. I jumped a limo through an RV, and then we did the limo race prior to the Freedom 500. And I was like, this is just awesome. Like, I love pushing these dumb cars to the limit of what they shouldn't do. And everybody else seems to enjoy it, and it's working out pretty well for us. So I had a friend hit me up and go, hey, what do you think about racing the Mint 400? And I go, well, of course, that sounds amazing, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way, and it's going to be in something ridiculous like a limo. And I had seen 4x4 limos, and then I got talking to Matt, who runs the Mint 400, and I said, hey, I wanted to make sure before I went and put forth any more effort, has anybody ever started and or finished the Mint in a limo? And he said, back in the 70s or, back in the early days of the Mint, somebody started I think he made it about 5 miles and it broke. So I'm like, okay, game on. No one finished. And me thinking that the Mint was, postponed, kind of how it was after 2020. I thought they were going to run it again in like December or whatever. Let's just put it this way. I thought I had like 6 to 8 months to build this limo. And then I had, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. But we got it done. And that, I tell you, like you were talking about, like the co-driver thing, I don't know how. So I raced it with Gabby Downing, and I don't know how we didn't end up wanting to just see each other at all ever again after that. But it was because we ended up cracked radiator 8 miles in, couldn't get it fixed. And so we're putting 5 gallons of water in this every 2 to 3 miles. Like, it just became stressful. It took us 11 hours to finish that whole race, but all we had to do was finish. And it got to a point about, I don't know, I think we were 60 miles in. It was a good opportunity to pull off the course, say, hey, we tried, didn't quite work. But then we get up to a checkpoint, and a guy goes, man, you just lost me $50. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, I didn't. I bet everybody you wouldn't make it this far. I'm like, oh, that lit the fire underneath our butts. All right, we're doing this thing. We're finishing. And it was one of those, I think we had to finish by 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And we rolled across that finish line backwards at 9:59.
That's in all of your things. I laugh because I'm like, you start talking about the radiator, and it's funny when you're having radiator problems, you immediately run out of water, like real quick. Have you ever had to go as low as pissing in the radiator?
Oh no, that was the best part. I'm sitting there like, we step out of the car and I'm just standing over there in the bushes taking a leak, and Gabby, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? She's like, go in a bottle. We get like, oh yeah, good call.
I did that one time.
Yeah, so yeah.
It was funny. I did that one time in the 79 when I first started racing, and it was like, it was a midnight race. And it was like 125 degrees in Vegas in July at night, like on this dry lake bed. We were having overheating problems, and we didn't have any bottles or anything like that. So my co-driver and I were standing literally like over the radiator, like peeing in the hole of the radiator to fill it up, dude. It was fun. I'm like, if they had a video of this, like, it would be funnier than hell.
Why wouldn't you just reroute the catheter at that point?
What's that?
Why wouldn't you just reroute the catheter at that point?
I wasn't even wearing a catheter then, so that's something that I developed.
That was probably pre-catheter days. Yeah.
Catheters still trip people out because they're thinking like the surgical insertions into your bladder and stuff. Which I wear a catheter. I'm like, no, it's a condom with a tube. They're like, oh, they make those.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not having a catheter surgically inserted into me. Sorry. Yeah, that's not happening.
That seems excessive. Exactly. But
yeah, I'll pee in my suit before that.
Well, that's what I just. It's been cool to that was another one. This isn't going to work. And then 8 miles in, they're like, all right, we're done here. And then it just became, you know what? We're not done. This car's still running. We're still going. Like, why are we giving up? And yeah, from pissing in the radiator to bargaining with people for their drinking water and just kind of having to plug your ears because this car is just making every bad noise imaginable. I'm like, we grenaded this motor and transmission for sure, but hey, we're still moving somehow, so let's go until it literally can't move. And that, I think, happened right, we made it up to the finish line, up on the finish line stand, and I had to tow it onto our trailer. So we put that thing through everything it had, and then it kind of gave up.
Well, I know Brittney and I were there, dude, and that was the story of the thing, right, Britt? I mean, nobody was talking about trophy trucks or anything else. Everybody was talking about this limousine and how crazy these people were to try and enter at the Mint. And then you had other racers going,
and all these side bets, right?
Yeah.
You got pools, you had guys that were out staffing the course that had their own side bets on it. I mean, I rolled up. I talked to you when you guys were rolling it on the trailer the next day when you had to come extract it from the pit. And it was just one of those things where everybody loves an underdog story.
Yeah, no, and that was kind of it with it is, again, to just go back to what I love most, this isn't going to work. Perfect. Hold my beer. Let's go. It's the whole case. That's the story behind me and Trav racing that boat. It's like, wow, you have a guy that's never driven, a guy that's never throttled, and you guys are going to go do what and race where? That's not going to work. And here we are, second in the national championship race. Like, cool. That's anytime anybody says this isn't going to work, which I think has happened at every world record jump I've done, just every like bigger stunt. Like when we jumped there, when I got the Hearst world record, we had nowhere near the run-in we thought. When we did the limo world record, the rear end fell out of it 3 times before we jumped it. And they're like, dude, that thing's going to break before you get up. And I'm like, we'll see. And then jumped the hot tub limo. That was another one. Everybody's like, dude, the rear end's going to sink. You're going to buck forward and you're going to go, head over heels in that limo. Cool. I'll sit in the back. Trav, you drive. And I guess I'll hold it onto this tarp that we basically built the swimming pool out of a tarp held in with drive screws. So no seatbelts. I'll just hold on to this and let's see what happens. Like it's just so much fun to be told, yo, you can't do it. It's not going to work. And then be like, ha! Look who's talking now.
Are you a 3-wheeler guy? I got a feeling you got to be like a 3-wheeler guy.
That just prolongs the story of this isn't going to work. First time I ever got on one was at Trav's, and I go, oh man, it was these little like 70 ATCs, and I go, oh man, somebody should backflip one, and you've got Troy Smalls and Smagical and all these freestyle guys that can backflip with their eyes closed off a curb. And I can't backflip for beans. Like, I think I've landed one to a pit bike and maybe one to a mountain bike ever. And they're like, no, you should backflip one. And I go, well, dude, I've never ridden a 3-wheeler. And they're like, you should backflip one. And I'm like, yeah, sign me up. I guess I kind of dug my own grave there. And that one was hilarious. I'm coming down the run-in to just the first time ever riding one. Trav's, brakes, you're going way too fast. Thinking I'm going to do another street bike Tommy and go over the foam pit, and it just goes right around. Cool, rather be lucky than good. And I think I did it one other time, and then they're like, all right, you're up. We're taking it to dirt. And I think I ended up being the first person to land at least a pit bike or a ATC 70 backflip to dirt, which this isn't going to work.
Somebody call Guinness. Guinness.
Yeah, Strondaland's just a weird place where it's not going to work until it does.
Britt, I think we found our guy. If we're ever going to bring Yamaha Rhinos back to desert racing, I think I found our guy to help us do this.
Yeah, well, only if we do the one with the 4-seat cage where it's higher in the back. We got to run all 4.
Oh, gosh, the death seat back there?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Oh, have you seen those original Rhinos when they make the 4-seat conversions, York? And they'd put like a bench seat, and it was in the bed of the Rhino, and then they'd extend the cage out, but all the weight was over the rear wheels. Like, dude, they just used to be like the death trap. Like that, those were the death seats.
Well, and then you put your kids back there, right? Safety third.
Yeah, it just sounds like a Subaru Brat with like the like pilot seat, but a bench seat on a UTV. Like, this sounds nuts.
But it was like a Yamaha Rhino, which had no wheel travel, no horsepower, like, and the suspension was garbage. Yeah. So it was just literally they became known as the death seats. It's like everyone's like, oh, I did a 4-seat conversion.
But they did top out at like 30 miles an hour though.
So you couldn't get into too much trouble. Like, you just get maimed, you wouldn't die.
Oh, that's all you can really ask for anytime. Like, like that. That's
unless you're Jim, because apparently he doesn't get hurt ever. He's just Gumby.
He's gonna live forever.
Yeah, that's the problem. Britt and I, we get wounded, and it's like we're wounded for a while. So I wish I was Gumby.
Yeah, but it's never racing.
No, it's. I laugh because I'm like, that is so the truth. It's never racing. It's always stuff. It's stupid stuff around the house or something. Put on my sock. Oh,
that's always it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to be racing or anything like jumping something that's going to get me. It'll be, I like choked on toothpaste one night or something like that.
Oh, that might actually be a quote I'm going to
Sandwich on a toilet, right?
Sandwich on a toilet.
Exactly.
I do know a guy that I will let him remain nameless because he'd kill me. But he literally was sitting on a toilet, and he was going to the bathroom so hard, pushing so hard, he blacked out, fell forward, broke his nose and his eye sockets because he blacked out on the toilet and fell forward. And because he blacked out, literally he went face first into the tile and just shattered the front of his face. And I'm like, dude, you've got to come up with a better story than that. Like.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't I'd be like, yo, too many people now know this because I'm not you, and you told me this story. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was one of those where I'm like, dude, you got to get a better story because that's not cool. I mean, it's funnier now, but not cool. But, well, I think we are officially up against the time break, York. Britt, I don't know what we've talked about for the last 36 minutes on air, but... dude, York.
This is what's golden though, because I am so excited for the year we have planned ahead. Like excited is just undertones for what we are about to experience the next year with the gym crew.
Yeah, well, and I'm excited.
Oh yeah,
because we've hung out. You've hung out with Britt and I think I met Gabby once in passing, maybe or something like that. So I'm kind of anxious for the four of us to hang out.
Oh yeah, no, you can ask like kind of anybody like. Us by ourselves as individuals is like, it's a good time, and you put us together and it's chaotic. It's like a chaotic party, but it's good. It's not trying to one up. It just becomes amplified. So it's like, if you had one speaker that was a little too loud, now you've just got a megaphone in front of it. It's amazing.
God, we're going to have a whole damn sound system then.
Yeah. It's kind of how Britt and I, we elevate each other, like in a good way, not a bad way. So it's like
that's what I'm worried about, though. You put the four of us together, this might be a problem.
Oh, it's gonna be
or the perfect storm.
The perfect storm. That's it.
Wait, hold on. What is it that he said? This is never going to work. Here we go.
Here we go. Let's try.
Exactly.
Hold our beer. Oh man. All right, York. Well, always fun catching up, brother. And we will be back after this on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. When it's time to replace the tires on your vehicle, General Tire delivers the tires you need for both your next big adventure and your daily commute. Whether you need all-season traction, lasting tread wear, or a quiet drive, General Tires are designed to deliver whatever life brings your way. From all-season ultra-high-performance tires for passenger cars and crossovers to extreme all-season mud terrain and tires for light trucks and SUVs, General Tire delivers great performance. To find your ideal tire, visit GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Dig what you're hearing? Well, do us a favor. Head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone and catch all of our back episodes. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Wrapping up hour number 1, we had Jim York on the show, and what a fun dude. What a wild guy. I mean, his imagination is all over the place. You got to love people like that. Definitely a rare guy is Jim. Man, I'm looking forward to hanging out with him. We got some cool projects with Jim York, Gabby, Brittney, myself, Pit Viper involved, and let me tell you, things are going to get cranking this fall, and you guys are going to be the beneficiaries of it. Yes, you're going to love what we got planned. It is going to be shenanigans, and it's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. So big thanks to Jim York for taking time out of his schedule to call into the show. We got hour number 2 coming up, though. Yes, those of you listening nationally and online, we got another hour of the show coming up. If you have any questions, hit us up at JimBeaver15, at BCardone15 on Twitter. We'll try and get those answered. If you like the show, let us know. You hate the show, let us know. Man, good fan feedback once in a while, though. We did have somebody hated the show here about a week ago on Twitter, and yeah, such is life. Things happen. But, yeah, and if you're a podcast listener, head over to Apple Podcasts, smash the subscribe button, and leave a rating or review. Let us know what you think. Yeah, and you know what? We got some big guests lined up the next couple of weeks. If you've got any guest suggestions, please let us know. But, man, we're dipping into the Supercross well. We're dipping into the AAA well. Like, this is going to be some fun stuff coming up. So you definitely don't want to miss it if you're a fan of the show. But, yeah, all that being said, we are going to take a short commercial break. I think I may get some beverages out. Get cranked up for hour number 2. So, yeah, it's about to get fun. And, yeah, we'll see you after this right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. General Tire delivers for whatever life brings your way. General Tire's Grabber X3 all-season mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Social media? Yeah, we've got that. Jim Beaver 15 on all major platforms and Jim Beaver Show JB15 Group and B Cardone 15 on the gram. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Hour number 2 is underway, and we're going to get Britt to chime back in here in just a few minutes to kick off this hour. But, man, we got a lot to talk about this hour. One, her and I have been doing a hell of a lot of traveling, so we got some shenanigans, some stories to tell you about that are fun. But you know what? Even more than that, we got some Ford Bronco stuff to bring you in the loop on. We got something called SuperMotocross, a new championship, something fans of Supercross have wanted, and motocross, anything two wheels have wanted for a long, long time. And that finally got announced here about a couple of weeks back. We're going to dive into that, talk about some Razor Crazy Karts. Yeah, not the Polaris Razor. I mean Razor Crazy Karts. Yes, Razor Worldwide, people that make the little aluminum scooters, they make something called a Crazy Kart, and we've got our hands on a couple of them. Let me tell you, they are something everybody should have in their garage. We're going to dive into talking about that. Probably talking about Vegas Reno. Yeah, raced one of the longest motorsports events in the United States a couple of weeks back. I say a couple of weeks back, a few days ago. And we're going to talk about that and all the fun that we had there. And maybe dive into some X Games. Yes, the X Games happened. Did you know that? Yeah, neither did a lot of people because the X Games has become very quiet and cricketish lately. But we'll probably dive in talking some X Games chat and then probably talk a little bit about the Kawasaki KRX. Spend some more time behind the wheel of this amazing package of I got too many adjectives going in there. It's an awesome UTV. Let's just say that. Yes, it is an awesome, well-rounded UTV, and I'll talk about that some. And yeah, I mean it's late at night, Brittney and I are still cranking on radio. If you guys are listening, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And, other than that, I don't know, man. This is hour number 2. Jim York, an amazing guy, hour number 1. If you're just tuning in and you missed it, go back, listen to the podcast over there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast One, everywhere else. And check it out, man. You missed a great interview if you're tuning in nationally. So definitely worth going back, hitting that subscribe button, and listening to a whole lot of fun that we had in hour number 1. Also got some cool stuff coming up, some places, some adventures we're going on. So, we'll talk about that as well. So, a lot to come here in hour number 2. Hang tight. It's going to be one hell of a ride right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. General Tire offers a wide variety of options that are designed to deliver for whatever life brings your way. Whether you have a truck, car, or SUV, General Tire delivers for whatever you drive. From the long-lasting all-season Altimax RT43 to the aggressive all-terrain Grabber ATX, General Tire covers on-road performance, off-road capability, and durability. General Tire delivers. For more information, drive over to GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Thanks for listening to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Available online on SiriusXM on AM/FM networks across the U.S. and internationally on the American Forces Network. Head to JimBeaver15.com for all the details. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone, and kicking off hour number 2 here. And this hour is all about us talking about all kinds of randomness. I don't know, Britt. We got a lot to talk about. You and I, we've had a bunch of shows we cranked out from Pocono and I don't know, all over the place. But this is the first one that we've actually kind of back to our normalcy. I feel like there's a ton of topics we haven't caught up on, and we got a ton to talk about.
No, I love it. For better or for worse, it was the same thing. Like, I actually had to write notes on where have we been and where are we going, because I can't even keep track without looking at my calendar.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it's funny, I actually had a conversation with somebody earlier this week, good friend of mine, who's listened to the show since the beginning. And he goes, the show's changed a lot. And he goes, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying, he goes, it's changed a lot. He goes, it's just a totally different format. And I was like, well, I said, here's the thing, and I'll say this publicly, like, we've got a good friend, George Hamill, that does his Dirt Life show, and I got no problem giving George a shout-out. I've been a guest on his show and stuff like that. He's kind of doing things the way that we and I did it like 7-8 years ago, where after the events he's got like 7 or 8 racers on and things like that, and he's just covering off-road, and obviously we cover a larger motorsports gamut because Brittney and I have friends all over the country and honestly all over the world. But it's like, I'm like, if you're looking for that type show where you're just hitting on those topics, like, definitely go listen to George's show. He's killing it. He's doing a great job. Brittney and I want to share our adventures with you because we do have a lot of adventures, but more importantly, we want to do like a deep dive into like some of these people, like Jim York, who we had on earlier. Like, we got to catch up with York for 40 minutes, and tell a little bit of his story. And like, I really enjoyed that conversation we had with York because I feel like we were able to peel back some layers, Brittney. And I feel like when you're doing those short like bursts, you don't.
We've both known him for how many years, and neither one of us knew the story on how he actually got into everything. So that was honestly like a great situation, great conversation.
Yeah. No, and I think that's what we're doing moving forward. And it was funny because it was actually a really good conversation with a close friend of mine that I've known for 25 years. And they were like, no, they're like, it's just completely different now. And I go, well, it's also a different name of the show too. And I'm not saying that's bad, and I'm not saying we're not covering motorsports. I mean, Brittney and I had plans to be at the Indy 500 and Long Beach Grand Prix, but we got pulled away in other directions. And we're going to go to some crazy events that we've never been to that I'm really looking forward to coming up. And we're going to do coverage there and interview those people. Like, I'm really excited. Like, honestly, Britt, you and I have talked, and like, I'm really excited. Like, the last 18 months, you and I have had some amazing adventures and trips, places. We got to see some stuff I think either one of us never thought we'd probably be able to see.
Definitely not. This is going to be a 2-part response, and I'm probably going to forget the second response by the time I get through the first. But it really is like, you used to be the steady constant, not saying you're not by any means, but things change and adapt, much like our life, our lifestyle. It's that same thing. It's like we had that 9 to 5 without having it, and everything's kind of changed the last few years. We've had to adapt with changing industries, growing, dynamic, pandemics, like all kinds of stuff. And I think we've done pretty well considering, but it definitely has changed. But like you say, it's also adapted. There's also generations coming up that are filling in those positions as well, probably as good, if not better, than what we could do ourselves. So I'm going to go back to what we started back on that whole 18 months ago, half joking on this whole just float. Because that's kind of where this all started. I know the name change and the style change and trying to figure out what you, me, us, all of this, the industry in general, we're doing. And that literally, like, that's all the mantra's been. And so far, I mean, I think it's been working. And I would love to hear feedback because I feel like you and I are both open to, if you want more or less of anything, unless it's just banter, because we probably can't cut that out by default. I'm sorry. But other than that, like, I would love to hear if there's something somebody wants us to talk more or less on, like, let's go for it. But other than that, like, this is, in a good or bad way, this is our life. This is just our real life and a random Tuesday for us.
Yeah. Well, that is funny because it is, and I do laugh because we're not together right now, but I laugh because she just posted up on stories. It was like, I called the dog wrong, but the credit card got eaten, and I just laugh because I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, I guess we're not taking a trip for at least another week or so until you get the credit card.
Okay, you've seen the Chewy commercials, right? They're so on point. That's why they crack me up, because it's legitimately, if my dog could talk, which they do, we have telepathy and kinesis, whatever you want to go with. They trust me. They give me the middle finger all day long.
Oh, for sure.
Middle paw, whatever. But yes, it was legit one of them. That's the thing, is the one would have just went on and bought stuff. The other one was pissed off because she knows it's always the high heels, the dresses, the credit cards, the suitcases. She destroys anything she knows that I take with me when I leave. And she is that amazingly vindictive, Love you, dog. But, yeah, she know what she did.
Oh, yeah. I laughed because I called the dog wrong, and I was like, oh, I should have figured it was a high-maintenance uppity one that sits in the corner and mocks you.
Yeah, but if we took her, she would just sit there and stare at us like, why am I here the whole time?
Yeah. I don't know. The one trip we have taken them on, I did enjoy having them in Bryan Head when we took them up there. Like, it was quite fun.
But again, Milo FOMO the whole time, and Misha sat on the couch and judged us every time we walked in and out the door, and that's about all she did.
No, yeah, there's truth in that. So
I apparently might have charged my credit card a few times. I don't know.
Wait, what do we have showing up to the house? That's the question.
Well, that's just an ongoing thing. Between Amazon and everything else these days, you never know.
No.
It's like we say, you don't know what's going to show up in the inbox on a Monday, and you never know what's going to show up from Amazon until Wednesday.
I do laugh because you have absolutely no idea what I've got shipped to the house. So I'm sure, like, sometimes you're like, what the hell did he do?
No, legit, my roommates will look at me, and they just think I have a spending problem. I'm like, by the way, half of this is not me. I have no idea what's in these boxes. But it's like Christmas in July every day.
Yeah. Oh, so what have we been up to? Obviously, we went to Pocono. We did a show from Pocono. Those of you who haven't heard that, go listen. We talked with our good friend Amber Balkin, who amazingly talented young lady who is trying to make for her name for herself in NASCAR. Did a great job. Fun interview there. Then we ended up in New York City. This one I didn't know what to expect. We got to talk about New York for a couple minutes, Britt, and then we'll probably cut to break, and then we'll come back and talk about some of these other headlines. But I was like, I'd never been in New York City. You'd been in New York City, and you, I know, said like you enjoyed New York, but it wasn't like the greatest experience the first time you went. So I literally had, I think, my expectations in check, and I went, and I got to tell you, I had a freaking blast for the 3-4 days that we were there. Like, it
was amazing, especially for not having anything on the itinerary. I think the first time around, I was trying to get everything done in one trip because I never thought I was going to be fast. But it's also changed so much in the past few years. It's not as busy. It was manageable this time around, and we had a great time for not necessarily doing anything. We had 1 or 2 meetings, and that was really it.
Yeah. Well, and I know it was funny because we're like halfway through, and I literally thought, okay, you'd been once. You're like, I'll go once so you can check it off your list, Jimmy. And like halfway through, like I thought, I'll never go back to New York. This is a one and done. Halfway through, you and I are already talking about next time we come to New York City.
Yeah.
And I just start
laughing.
Yeah,
we were already like in a few months, in a few weeks. Yeah. Next time we come back.
But I feel like you and I have our March in Dallas. Like March in Dallas for some odd reason has become a thing. We go to Dallas SuperCross like in March. That's like our thing now. It's 2 years in a row, and I feel like New York City is going to become almost I don't want to say an annual thing, but I think it's going to be like it might end up being a semi-regular thing where every year or two we go and like check a few things off. I had a good enough time that I'm down for a round 2. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, because I feel like we're kind of doing it little ass back. Because I had to do all the touristy stuff, knock it all out. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, this kind of stuff, this is awesome, this is too much. So we've got the bucket list stuff, and then we got to do the other stuff. Like, let's just go randomly walk around Central Park and check out other stuff. Go have a beer, check out this random roller skating rink, and this, like, let's go have a hot dog here, and let's go there. It was just a different bucket list. But you've got a bucket list for the next time and the next time. And I feel like not having to try and just push it all in and do the tourist thing makes it kind of fun.
Yeah. And I will say, if anybody is going to New York, probably in the next year, I don't know how long it's going to run. It just released on Broadway. If you have the chance, Beetlejuice on Broadway, absolutely worth going to.
And you don't have to, I mean, you can, but you don't have to get dressed up. You definitely want to know.
Yeah. We kind of dressed up. Like, for you and I, it was pretty dressed up. I don't want to say pretty, but...
Yeah, I mean, I wore not pants, but I still have my flip-flops on.
Okay, we got to take a short commercial break. Here we come back. We will get into talking about some motorsports-oriented things. I promise you that. Right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing. So why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Dig what you're hearing? Well, do us a favor. Head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone and catch all of our back episodes. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. I almost did it for the second time. I almost called it down and dirty.
It's like your turn to Vegas to Reno.
Oh,
you've got this one spot that you just can't get through.
True story. Like, it's a true story. Brittney, last year, there's this turn at Vegas to Reno, so we're racing last weekend. And there's this turn, and she literally, last year, I don't want to say I blew it. It's not like I blew it and went through like trees and boulders and almost wrecked the car, but I came in too hot, and then we had to turn around and come back and lost.
No, there was a Y in the trail, and it was a hairpin left, and he decided to go right.
Yeah. So
we
that
have different definitions of hairpins, apparently.
So that hairpins, that's the things you leave all over the hotel room, right? Those little metal things that are one-time use.
Maybe that's why you're confused. Fair enough.
No, so last year I messed up. And all right, so I had my mess up. This year, Brittney remembers the corner. Girl's got a photographic memory on certain things. Anyways, we're coming in. She gives me literally a mile notice. Hey, your hairpin's coming up. Hairpin left coming up. The one you blew last year, yeah,
remember this spot from last year. The one you're pissed. Don't blow it. Let's not blow it.
Literally, half mile, Jimmy. You got that hairpin left. Don't blow it. Half mile, quarter mile, Jimmy. All right, 200 yards, 100 yards, 50 yards. She's calling it out. What happens? I still blew it. It was.
He's blowing. It's just like the car stopped turning, just shy of me taking the steering wheel and turning it for him. Left, keep going. Nope, this is it. Keep go. Nope. Keep going left. That's the hair. There you go. There's something about that corner that's just, it's magnetizing. And I'm curious, like I said, there's got to be some weird geocaching treasure or something down that fire road. Because everything, including the 4 orange cones that they put this year, that don't go there.
If you and I ever take a vacation with the dogs driving around the state of Nevada, which will never happen, we're gonna go find out where that road goes.
I'll tell you what, you can go pre-run that one and let me know what's down there.
Yeah. Like I said, if we ever take that vacation, that will never happen. We're definitely going down that road.
I don't know. Vegas to Reno next year, maybe. We might take some random vacation I didn't know about because you seem to really like that fire road.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So that happened. Yeah, we had Vegas to Reno last weekend. We've had a bunch of stuff. Right before that.
Hold on. By the way, I would like to mention this is mile... On our deal, it was mile 302 out of 308 where we got out into the driver change. So it's not like this is the first 10, 15 miles of the race. We're in a rhythm here.
Yeah, that's the thing. We get in sync, and it's funny because we were talking about, Brittney and I, we can be in a car ride and talk the entire car ride. We get into race mode, and it's funny. I just go silent for hours at a time. And she just talks notes nonstop, and it's kind of crazy, how we get into that rhythm and that sync where it's just an information flow from you into my head through the steering wheel and the pedals. I've always found.
I'm glad you said notes because at first you just said it's just you talking nonstop.
No, but I've always.
But it is it's trippy because I've actually never co-drove for somebody where I do it rally style, where it's as the turn is coming up. And so it did take me a minute to kind of get adjusted to that. But I honestly like it because it's the same way. Like, as I get that flow and I get that rhythm and that timing down, you kind of match it. So it works pretty well.
Yeah. I've always found that dynamic. Like, you understand when, like, you hear about these like World Rally Championship drivers, and they've got the same co-driver the whole year. David Higgins. I mean, David's a good friend of ours, and David and Craig Drew. Like, David does not want to get in a race car without Craig Drew, and it's because they just.
Oh, I get it.
They have that sync, and you and I have that sync, and it's just weird. Like, and we were close. Like, but I've seen people that are close, and then I've seen where they're in the race car, and it just doesn't work. And you and I did, but it's just funny because, like, there's drivers. I've seen drivers that have fought their entire career. They've raced for 20, 25 years, and they never find the right co-driver. It's literally a revolving door. It's a revolving door. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. There's got to be, I mean, I would love to see a study sometime done, like on brain function, something like how that co-driver-driver dynamic works and what makes two people compatible in the race car. And, you know, and then two people not compatible in the race car. Like, there's got to be something subconsciously.
That would be interesting because I don't know how many different co-drivers you've had, and especially, like, having a single-seat trophy truck and stuff like that. That kind of took the pressure off for me because I got to the point where I really didn't even want to co-drive anymore because each one of my drivers, even in a single race, were so nice and so different that my call-outs, some were numbers, some were this, some wanted a quarter mile, some wanted a 10th mile. Like, and everything is just so night and day different. You can be the best co-driver, the worst co-driver, depending on, like you said, that dynamic, and it could be the same. And so we kind of started this whole deal as a joke, right? And I told you the only reason I got back in the car and got out of retirement is because there was zero expectation. And maybe that's the dynamic.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's just, I don't even know where I was going to go with that, but there's a trust level. Like, with me, like, I'm taking, you know, knowing there's, say, a hard right followed by a medium left or something like that. I'm going in blind, and I'm fully trusting you that, you know what I mean, these corners and the way I'm setting the car up to go into these corners, you know what I mean, is going to work. But then on the flip side, like, there's such a trust level with you because you're staring.
I know
at
it.
a
No,
GPS
that's what
screen.
I know it because I'm watching the GPS. I'm not staring up. Like, I think I get to look up at the actual course every 10 minutes if I'm lucky. Yeah. Maybe get some error. Other than that, it's.
But if I was.
And it's changed though. It has changed because when we first started this, there was some gap, there was some learning, there was some time, and now when we're 300-400 miles in and we're within 30 seconds of 8 other people. You and I both know that every turn, every call out, every speed change, every speed zone hit, those seconds count. So it's changed so much for you and I, and that's why we laugh, because we both apologize when we get out of the car. Because we can BS all day long, but when it comes to that, like, you and I both have the same expectation. I don't want to blow a corner any more than you do. But it's just this crazy thing. Like, I'm watching it on the GPS, and that's the most difficult thing. And that's what's actually cool, having these conversations, too, and having that trust level, is you don't take it out on me, because there's times where if we have a 3-random section, and I call it noodles, but the GPS says one way, and I'm calling it off the GPS, and the course obviously goes a different way. I physically go off of the G's and how it feels. And I don't know it's any different until it's not going the same way as what I'm looking at on the screen. And I keep up for a second to realize, hey, we're on course according to you driving, but we're not on course according to the GPS. And you don't take that personally, which is a huge weight off of my shoulders, so I can keep doing my job and going to the next thing and go, oh crap, like, I feel horrible, I'm so sorry, and go through that whole process. But it isn't. It's so cool when we get in sync, because we're sitting there talking about, I can tell if you're not taking a corner hard enough, or if you're slowing up and checking up because you're not trusting this blind corner, and I can tell you it opens, it closes, and the fact you trust me enough to listen to that, I mean, that really shows over the past 2 seasons now, this last race. Like, you and I really got into that trust factor. And I think we picked up a couple of spots just in those last few miles based on, luckily, the GPS being correct.
Well, and I do have to give a shout out, like you talked about earlier, how everybody's in neck and neck. Like, there was a few different people in the battle, but I gotta say, Jamie Campbell, from Raceco, and Maddie Wedking, and and you obviously, and their co-drivers, but we had till mile 307 when you and I got out of the car, 307, 308. We had an amazing battle. I mean, the three of our cars were literally within seconds of each other for a few hundred miles. Like, that's fun when you can race like that, and we got out, and you know what I mean? And it was awesome, you know? And it was like, even at the halfway point, Maddie came over and gave us high fives, stuff like that. But
I love that dynamic. Like, it's so competitive, but it's fun at the same time, and it kind of drives.
Yeah. But I'm like, how rad is it that we can race for, 300 miles and literally be within seconds of each other? Like, and we all raced each other clean. There was no dirtiness to any of it. You know what I mean? And I just think it's so awesome, And honestly, massive shout out to Maddie Wedking. That girl, from a couple of years ago till now, man, she has definitely turned a page with her driving. I was very, very impressed with Maddie.
No, it's exactly like we were saying. Like, talking about the past year or two and how close everything's gotten, we're realizing we're all in acknowledgement that it's right there. Because talking about the GPS and the tracking and the push to pass and all that, like, it actually worked the way it was supposed to this race. And that's what was so cool. Is there were certain spots where we were holding back, where we didn't want to push, in certain spots where other people did. Go to do that, you acknowledge, you get a clean spot. Like, it's so much safer that way.
Completely agree with you, Britt, but we got to take a short commercial break. More right after this on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. General Tire delivers for whatever life brings your way. General Tire's Grabber X3 all-season mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Social media? Yeah, we've got that. Jim Beaver 15 on all major platforms and Jim Beaver Show JB15 Group and B Cardone 15 on the gram. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Been talking some Vegas to Reno, some travel, some adventures. We got a few topics to talk about, though, as Britt, we're recording this. I kind of alluded to it earlier in the show when I was recording some of the liners and stuff like that. It's pretty late at night, almost midnight unicorn time, and it's 11 o'clock here in Arizona. For some weird reason, we're not together right now. But I'm out of vodka, so I am cracking open a land shark. So just putting that out there.
You suck.
You've got a beer, I hope, in your hand. I know you want.
I have a beer and I have a backup beer, but I don't have a land shark.
Oh, you got a pocket beer. Pocket beers
yes.
are the best.
Go back to hammers.
Yes. I guess let's first talk about, we got I want to say Bronco. We got this segment, we've got crazy cars to talk about, we've got SuperMotocross to talk about. I want to touch on X Games, we got Bronco. Where I'm going to leave this to you. What are we starting with? What topic?
Oh, I'm gonna get my hashtag Ford Wrangler rant out of the way.
All right.
Just to get this done, because I've told you about this. Like, now that I've had the Bronco in my possession enough to make it feel like it's mine, I love the thing, and I'm gonna start with that. Is the pros versus cons. Pros. I mean, it's a freaking Bronco, and it's amazing, and I love it. So those are like the big obvious ones that just hover over everything else. But I do have a few little bitches to pick, and they're completely on me.
I'm all ears. I've got a few, but I'm kind of anxious to hear what you've got to say.
Like I said, mine, I feel like they're all me problems. For one, like I chafe on the seatbelt because they don't have the little adjustment on it. I'm kind of short. So that's like one of my biggest deals. And the second one, I laugh because I'm like, this thing's going to be the death of me, but not in a bad way. Just because it's all the new technology. My Raptors is 12, so it's still relatively basic. And other than that, like I like to hold on to things. So I haven't had all this new technology stuff. And what everybody's smelled with in the past few years is just kind of too much. So every time I got to start the car, every time I got to turn off the car, before it used to be pushing the clutch, manual transmission, by the way.
Yes.
But it used to be pushing the clutch, put it in the gear, turn it off, you leave. And the reason I talked about the whole Ford Wrangler thing is because I happen to have a Jeep Wrangler. That was one of my first vehicles that was also a black car. So just by default, it brings me back into that simpler time, which it is not the case. So now I'm dealing with these fancy turbos and just like car clutch and a sport that isn't that there's no foot pedal, that you have to push the opposite way, which is really fun when you're in the Valley of Vegas trying to figure out for the first time. And you haven't driven a stick shift in how many years? So, it's just a little thing. If I continue the rant, it's going to be the whole key fob thing. Because, like I said, I can't just, turn it off, pull the key, and walk away. Now I got to put it in the gear, hit the push start button, and then let it go. And if I forget, which, for the record, I still have not stalled it out, Jim.
Oh, bus under
but
me.
I almost do, because I have to sit there and mentally go, okay, what do I need to do in this order before I can walk away from the vehicle? So it's not just this passive, pull the key, hit the brake, and walk out. It's like you got to turn off the spaceship before you leave. And then after that, yoga pants. I don't have pockets. So between leaving key fobs in either my backpack or center console, or then once I leave, I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just randomly clipping it to my shirt or my ponytail. Anyways, like I said, they're kind of just me problems. But I feel like I'm having to learn how to drive again.
It's fun, though. Well, and it's funny because, honestly, I'm going to say this, and it's actually quite funny. I know I had pros and cons at one point with a Bronco. I can't remember what they were because it's been so long since I've really driven it. I mean, I drove it up the hill when we were at Vegas to Reno, but I can't remember any of it because you've been driving it. And
like I said, though, my pros and cons are not normal. Okay, the fact that the window on the back of it is backwards, and I understand why, but it bugs me because I can't get into the ice chest without having to open the back of it first to lift it.
I do have that. I do have that gripe with it. And you and I found the most amazing ice chest. It fits perfect in the back. And you got to open the door and then.
That's
flip
great,
up
but
the
you
glass.
got to have the whole, and it's not just partially. It's not 45. You got to swing the entire thing open.
Yes.
Before you can open that back window to get to the ice chest.
Yeah, and I remember. I don't want to say the original Broncos, but I remember the I guess the full-size Broncos where you could just slide the glass down. Part of me wishes there was an option to just slide the glass down. But
like I said, there's just stupid gripes that nobody else probably has a problem with. I mean, so if we want to talk positive, negative, like turning radius beyond amazing to the point where it's almost a problem, because I think I've almost rolled it 2 or 3 times when I was
I think I'll turn on a dime.
I had to go to whip it around. I'm like, whoo, that's dangerous. But
the off-road tech's amazing. Just a little bit when we had it at Moab, and I kind of fooled around with it. And I think once we get our new kid on there and the 37s, and you and I actually get to go out and do a little crawling and stuff. Like, that off-road tech is insane, like the sway bar disconnect and the lockers, and like Ford really.
Well, the crawler mode does fully work because
Yeah.
I may or may not have used that in Vegas traffic.
Yeah, the crawler mode. It's
because first
basically
gear is kind of high, but that's just because that half gear's floating around.
Yeah.
Oh, see, another gripe, but that's just me driving Rangers and Jeeps forever, like, typical utility vehicles. And I hadn't driven the fancy Cubies and all these other little sports cars that have this fancy little deal. So when I left valet, I just didn't know how to put it first.
Yeah. So Bronco, we got Bronco locked in. So we're gonna be short for time, and we still got time. But I'm just looking at it, going, all right, we got to get rolling here. So next up, I gotta say, crazy carts. So our good friends at Razor Worldwide sent Brittney and I a couple crazy carts. We had to do an activation with our partners at Rigid.
We
and
got to.
Yeah, I don't want to say had. We were honored to. We had a complete and total blast. If by the way, I'll give that podcast a plug. Go and listen to that. It's on Apple. It was a good time. But those things, I had never driven one before, Britt. Oh my gosh, are those a freaking blast?
Yeah, I had told you for years that I wanted them for the basement before it was built. So you didn't even know the full capacity of what I was talking about, did you?
Oh, well, I just can't wait to. They're currently sitting in our race shop here in Parker, but Brittney and I are going to take them to the house in Cedar, and I just can't wait to terrorize the neighborhood because those kids, like on any given Saturday, we go out drifting around. They're going to be like, "What the heck is going on here?" Because in the neighborhood in Cedar, there's all these kids that ride their mopeds and their bikes and everything around. Like, I just can't wait to get the crazy carts there just to drift around the neighborhood.
They're almost quiet enough you can kind of sneak up on them.
Yeah. Well, now we're talking about taking them to the skate park in Havasu. I mean, man, this is.
I'm talking about doing downtown runs.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just need a whip on it. Like.
Yeah, and then what do we talk about? Some possible floating, drifting tracks. I don't know. This is going to be exciting. Havasu, you, me, and I love York. He's got a crazy mind like us, and I'm really excited to meet his girlfriend Gabby because I feel like the four of us, this could be trouble, Britt.
No, it's definitely trouble, and I hate to throw you under the bus, but we definitely got to meet her for a very short period of time on Fremont, and that was a very epic 10-15 minutes until we somehow got dispersed.
Yeah, I do remember meeting her, but I mean, like, really hanging out. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, besides, like, a drink or two, yeah, definitely this, like I said, it shouldn't happen, so it's going to be amazing.
When Brittney says something shouldn't happen, it means it should really happen very soon. And I think it is.
I'm definitely just going off of his tagline. He's like, anytime something shouldn't happen, somehow we make it, and that's success. I'm like, this is some nonsense.
Yeah, so crazy carts. I am just saying, if you're listening in and you're adult, get one. If you're an adult and need an excuse and you have kids, buy one for the kids, but don't ever let the kids drive them and just drive them yourself.
Just get an XL. It's fast enough, trust me.
Yeah, do not get the kids version. Get the XL. Even if you've got a 3-year-old, just make them figure it out. Like,
yeah, room to grow.
Yeah, room to grow. Exactly. Yes. It was funny because we were Rigid. There were so many people walked up. How much are these? Like this and that. My kids would love these. Like tongue in cheek.
I don't know if there's gonna be enough power. All right, you get on it. You let me know at the end of that course.
Yeah. So all right, we got like 4 or 5 minutes left. We got to talk about this. We're gonna skip forward to this. SuperMotocross. So this has been talked about.
And he gives us 4 minutes to talk about this. All right, go.
Yeah, well, no, it's been talked about for years. Everybody's like, we got the Supercross Championship. We got the Motocross Championship. There needs to be one. Well, they decided to do one. We got the Supercross Series in 2023. We got the Motocross Series in 2023. Then they're going to take the top 22 combined points from both. They're going to throw them in a 3-race playoff and crown a SuperMotocross world champion. Like, I can tell you this right now, Brittney and I will be at least one of the SuperMotocross rounds at the end of the year. That's just going to happen. I don't care where we're at. We're going to make it happen.
With beers in hand, and
Yes.
hopefully riding pit bikes in the parking lot, like the old school days at the Coliseum. I hate to say it, this is such an awesome thing, but I'm so stoked the fact they're actually bringing the Coliseum back into it.
Yes, the Coliseum is. I watched my dad race there. I've seen videos. I laugh when we talked with McGrath. I remember McGrath racing there in his infancy, and he was they used to have the Supercross guys go backwards on the course, and they jump to flat and things like that on the concrete. The Coliseum.
I watched Bubba on a pink stroke there.
Yeah, the Coliseum is iconic, and I know it's in an area, LA, you probably don't really want to visit. I know the Coliseum's old, and it's kind of not, seen the best last couple of years, though NASCAR did race there this year on a demo thing. But, anything at the Coliseum, color Brittney and I in. I'm serious. We got to go. That's just, hands down, we will be there.
Well, and now I want to know what the other venues are. Because they have the two they haven't released that they're still figuring out. My mind's going on where the other two are going to be.
Well, I feel too, the Coliseum's huge. They're going to come with something that nobody's expecting. At some point, they've got to be, you know what I mean? It's going to be something that's just going to blow people's minds, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's tying back the old the old school, new school stuff, right? Because everybody remembers the racing at the Coliseum before that kind of got nixed. And then now they're bringing it back. So it's there's going to be the whole, feel of everyone's going to be remember when, and then there's going to be the other generation that's seeing it for the first time, just mind blown. No, this is how it was just every Saturday.
Yeah. Did you see Kawasaki already announced their 2023 Supercross lineup? I was wow, that's early. Cian Cerullo and El Hombre are back with Kawasaki for Supercross. It was a very early announcement.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. But outdoors isn't even done yet. They're already announcing their Supercross lineup. I feel that's Cowie going, hey, we're bringing our A game next year. We're securing ourselves. Bring it.
Case in point, are you surprised?
No, but it's you always have this off-season drama, and Cowie's yeah, there's no drama here. We're just going to go and dominate next year, and here's our lineup.
Yeah. No, it's going to be so cool because I feel they really are just bringing the best of the best. Because if there's any question, because people even talk about East Coast, West Coast, this track, that track. It's cool. Now you've got everything just all encompassed together. Maybe they'll throw in a wild card with some endurocross.
Oh, I love me some endurocross. I don't ever want to try endurocross because it's just gnarly. Even Travis Pastrana says that's the one thing that scares him. But I love watching endurocross. And we'll be back with more to wrap things up after this right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. General Tire offers a wide variety of options that are designed to deliver for whatever life brings your way. Whether you have a truck, car, or SUV, General Tire delivers for whatever you drive. From the long-lasting all-season Altimax RT43 to the aggressive all-terrain Grabber ATX, General Tire covers on-road performance, off-road capability, and durability. General Tire delivers. For more information, drive over to GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Thanks for listening to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Available online on SiriusXM on AM/FM networks across the U.S. and internationally on the American Forces Network. Head to JimBeaver15.com for all the details. And that's all she wrote right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Britt, awesome show today. Jim York, we love that guy. He is he's kind of a freak of nature, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Gumby.
Yes, Gumby. That is absolutely the truth. Jim York is Gumby. He just, I don't know, that dude, like he said, Pastrana said some people are just cut from a different cloth, and I think Jim York's definitely one of those. You and I would do anything he does, and we'd be like half dead.
Oh, that's what I was laughing at. What was this thing today? It was something about I'd rather be lucky than good at something. I'm like, oh, that is such a different perspective.
Yeah. Unfortunate part for you and I is we're neither. We're not lucky or good. I don't know what we
No.
are. Oh, man. Big shout out to our sponsors, General Tire, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, GSP XTV Axles, Rigid Industries, iRacing, everybody that supports us, keeps us cranking. Man, thank you guys. I'm at Jim Beaver 15. She is at B Cardone 15. And we will see you next time right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. That's a wrap for this edition of the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Brittney Cardone. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and follow Jim Beaver 15, B Cardone 15, and Jim Beaver Show on social media. We're also on the web. Hit us up at jimbeaver15.com for all the latest. We'll see you next time.